Now that Google's AI application Gemini has somewhat stabilized, they are adding the new features of Gemini into all of their applications, and especially they have integrated it pretty well within Google Classroom. And I'll show you some of the new features that you can harness the potential of AI right within Google Classroom. Let me show you how. When you go to Google Classroom, this is your home page. And if you click on this waffle on the left side, the top left, you'll see when you click on that, it opens up the menu on the left side. In the menu, there are some familiar features there and familiar tabs. You have the calendar, you have the resources, they were already there. But now they have also added Gemini in its standalone feature here. So when you click on Gemini, this will open up all these action tabs that are available now within Google Classroom to do all sorts of things. Let's start with the first one, which is probably the most used and most needed of all the features of Gemini in an educational setting. That is, create a lesson plan. So let's click on outline a lesson plan. Now, this has two steps to this. So let's start with the first one. I will say for grade, my target grade is 9th grade. And then it asks you to choose a template for lesson plan. You have a general template without any subsections to this, but I will go with what they call a 5E template. What is a 5E template? If you click on that, 5E is the generic, pedagogically sound lesson plan, which is engaging is the first requirement of an effective lesson plan, engaging your students, exploring where the students explore the topic itself, explaining where they go deeper into a topic, and then you elaborate, and then finally you evaluate students. So all these 5 components of an effective lesson plan that we will create here. So I'm going to go with that. And now the first thing is asking, describe the topic and the standard you want to teach. So let's say I want to teach about kinetic energy, and I want to align it with NJSLS, New Jersey Student Learning Standards for Science. So I want for these standards aligned with the NJSLS standards. And the first thing, generate learning objectives. So I'm going to click on that. And now it has already generated a couple of learning objectives. Students will be able to calculate the kinetic energy. Students will be able to explain the relationship between an object's mass, blah, 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 blah. So now the learning objectives have been created. Now the next part is I want to give it the context, where I will be using it, my classroom size, my classroom composition. So let's say some of my students are bilingual Spanish. So I would need Spanish vocabulary. I will also say, and differentiate the lesson both for high ability and low ability students. So I've given it a pretty decent context to my class. You can expand the context to include all sorts of needs for your classroom. Leave this for this right now like this. So generate a lesson plan. Again, it will start generating. It will take a couple of seconds. Here we have a detailed lesson plan. So you have the lesson overview. I'm going to make it a little bigger so that you could see. You have the lesson overview here. You have all the materials needed. You have the preparation materials. And then we go into the 5E template of the lesson plan. So you have the engaging, you have the exploration, you have the explaining, and you have the elaboration here, and finally evaluation. At this point, you can straight away go ahead and you can export to Google Docs, and it will be saved in your Google Drive. But before I do that, I would like to convert this lesson plan into an actionable implementation tool. So we have 2 things here. I can go ahead and I generate a quiz based on that. I can, let's say I want it to, based on the same lesson plan, I want it to give me a Google form quiz, which includes multiple choice questions, true or false questions, short answer, long answer, all of them. So I'm going to click on all those. Now I'm going to say generate questions. So now it has given me this quiz based on the lesson that we just created. And now I can export this in two different forms. I can add this as a Google Docs, and or I can also export this as a Google Form, which again, I can publish it to my Google Classroom. So now I'm creating a Google Form quiz. So it has already created this Google Form quiz for me. And if you look at that, here is the quiz that it has generated. We asked just for 3 questions. I can ask in the instructions, I can ask it to give me 5 questions or 10 questions or whatever number of questions. And now this is completely implementable and deliverable quiz that it has generated. And now going back to our lesson plan. So I'm going to go back for lesson plan. I'm going to leave it like that. I can also find relevant video resources, and it will pull in all the resources from YouTube. And again, it is now searching for YouTube about kinetic energy. I have all of these resources here. It is giving me almost 8 different YouTube videos about kinetic energy. So I can choose as many as I want. Let's say if I pick up, these 2, I can add these 2 resources to the lesson plan that we had created at the beginning. And now at this point, if I export this lesson plan to Google Docs, watch what happens. So now it has given me this entire lesson plan that was there before, which we can submit to our supervisor and whatever. And it has also added these YouTube videos that we have selected, the 2 YouTube video that we selected. It has added those also as a relevant video resource. So this is one of the features. There is so much more that you can do with this. But right now, this is just the first thing I just want to show you, that you can create a deliverable, implementable lesson plan within Google Classroom. That's it for now. Until next time. Bye-bye.